Hi, hello everybody. Welcome to Weekend Wednesday. And I hope you guys can hear me. I'm using my, some days I forget these things. So hoping it works all right. Welcome to Weekend Wednesday, August 1st. Okay, so I really hope that you are taking advantage of Weekend Wednesday, that you're bringing something weekendish into your Wednesday because it's August 1st and we're 1 month down. Summer's 1 month down. So I really hope that you're doing something that, hi Hazel, nice to see you here. I hope that you're doing something very weekendish on this Wednesday so that you're maximizing every weekday as well as the weekends for all of August so you can get the most out of summer. Because if you're anything like me, I just literally wait all year long just for summer. So I really hope that you're enjoying it. And that brings me to why I'm doing this Facebook Live, because I wanted to talk about having what I call audacious grace. So you may have read about it in the email I sent out this morning, or maybe you read about it in the post here in Imperfect and Unapologetic, where I shared where I was observing my son, my 18-year-old son, having such good manners. And I had this little aha moment where I realized that while I consider myself a person that has like really good manners, you know, have always had good manners, we're raised to have good manners, that I have not been using those manners to say. And so I realized that while I say thank you to people, I don't actually say thank you to God or the universe or the divine or divine source or whatever it is that you call that unseen power that has an effect on our lives. And so in that moment of that aha, I decided I was going to start using my manners and saying thank you. And the revelation I then had was to call it audacious grace. And so I wanted to also offer the opportunity to you to join me, because my gut, my intuition, which I'm pretty connected to and never steers me wrong, tells me that this is a really big game changer. That this concept of shifting the way that you go through your day, using your manners to thank the bigger universe for what you have, is actually a really big personal game changer of deep significance. And so when I feel something like that, is that significant, I always want to share it. I want to give it to all of you. I want to give you the opportunity to share in that experience as well. So this is literally how simple it is. You grab a journal. Here's the one I'm using right now. You pick a time each day to write just 3 things, or you can do more things if you like, but a minimum of 3 thank yous to the universe, to the divine, to God, whatever it is that you refer it, that all-knowing power to. So that's how easy it is, just easy peasy. And as I mentioned, like science reports that new habits, they take 21 days to take hold. And so that's the commitment that I'm making. It's easy. It's August 1st, 21 days into August, great time to be just establishing this new habit. And as I suggested in the email as well as in the post, a new habit is easier and more likely to work for us. We're more likely to do it if we actually take that habit and we buddy it up with a habit that we already have. So we take that new habit and we associate it with a habit that we already have established, such as drinking your morning coffee, as some of you have already told me that you've decided to do that. And which, by the way, I'm counting those of you who replied to my email this morning that you're in, and that you've already decided to note your audacious grace in the morning with your coffee. And and then some of you in the tub, in between walking the dog and leaving for work. So thank you for that. I will count you as my audacious grace for replying to me today about that. So I do the same. I associate it with my morning chai ritual because I'm not ever going to forget to do that, right? So I will do my minimum of 3 audacious grace notes in my journal while I'm savoring my chai in the morning, because that's a little ritual I do for me that is part of that feed your soul concept that I incorporated into my life. And we've talked about that before in here. So this Facebook Live, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you about like the proven benefits of practicing Audacious Grace, as well as give you like 8 Audacious Grace suggestions that will get you started. Plus I have a little something that I want to offer you to share with you, a little gift, and I'll answer your questions. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments. And if you don't yet have any questions, just say hi so that I know you're here, because sometimes I can see the numbers, but I don't often know, it doesn't tell me who's here unless you say hi. Okay, so I said that my intuition tells me that this is a really personal game changer, a big personal game changer of deep significance. And it turns out that as I look further into it, there are actually facts that back this up. So there's tons of research and studies that are conclusive that practicing gratitude has exponential personal benefits. So some of the big ones that I've seen listed in so many studies are health benefits like stronger immune systems, lower blood pressure, having more energy, and better sleep, which I know a lot of you talk about. We talk about it in your private sessions and things like that, where that's something that you really struggle with. And so this actually has been proven, and that has been one thing that has been listed consistently across all of the research that I've been studying about this, is that it does actually contribute to better sleep, because it actually has emotional benefits such as less anxiety, more optimism, increased motivation, and a greater sense of feeling connected to others. So less loneliness. And that's huge, because that's one of the big things that people suffer with, and they suffer alone with it. And it affects your health on so many levels. This daily gratitude actually impacts that. So that alone is an amazing benefit. All right. And then as well, the other studies that I've read also show that when we practice gratitude, we are more likely to believe in ourselves, right? So we have that increased confidence. And what that does is creates that momentum of actually, when we have confidence, we're willing to do the things that maybe we wouldn't do otherwise, that get us closer to the experiences and the dreams that we want, right? So all because of like a simple and small daily practice of gratitude, we're actually sleeping better, feeling more connected, less lonely, and we have more confidence. We're actually achieving some of our goals and dreams, and fulfilling some of those things, those desires that we want. So those are huge. Those are huge benefits, all from a small daily practice that might take you, 5-10 minutes, right? So the payoff of that is really enormous, right? So one of the things that I found was really interesting as well was that I found there was a study done in 2003 that showed that people who practiced writing daily gratitude in a journal also exercised more than the control group. So this is the kind of benefit that I call, and some of you, have heard me talk about this before, I call it next level living, because it's where one beneficial practice, one thing that we do, actually inspires and supports another beneficial practice, right? And then the two of those things combine, and they actually cause like this bigger upgrade, this overall upgrade to the quality of our lives and our happiness and our well-being. So it's like a twofer, right? Like it's just you get like so much benefit from the combination of these two small little decisions, choices, practices, actions that you're taking, okay? And that leads to big transformation. And that's really how transformation happens. Like we think that all of a sudden transformation is something that just bam happens, but it might switch in the second for you, but actually it's all those little steps that you take that actually lead up to it. So it's like consistent action plus time is actually what creates change and transformation in our lives, okay? So I wanted to give you like 8 suggestions to get you started. So these are 8 things that you might consider so that you can write them down, okay? So one thing is appreciating the beauty in nature. And there's, you know, in Canada, in the US, everywhere, there's so much beauty. You know, lakes, mountains, trees, wildlife, there's everything, birds, you know, there's so much. And just taking that little bit of time to appreciate nature. Like this morning I was, my son that I wrote about in the post is learning to drive, right? And so he was driving this morning and I was riding in the passenger seat, so I could actually like, you know, look around and kind of just like, you know, wasn't just have my eyes on the road, although probably should have, right? But anyways, I'm just kind of, you know, we're on the highway, so he's got it covered and I'm just kind of looking around, and I saw a blue heron just kind of like, you know, flying along above the golf course. And like that's just a very uplifting thing. I mean, you know, obviously God created nature, right? So to give thanks for the sight of seeing that beautiful heron so majestically, you know, just kind of floating on the wind across the sky is a beautiful thing, right? So appreciate beauty in nature. That's one suggestion. Another thing is to note what you appreciate about specific people in your life. Okay, so it's great to be appreciative of the people in your life. So, you know, you can write, you know, the things that you have audacious grace for, you know, or your family, your children. But write, like, what is it specifically that you appreciate about those people? Like, what are the traits, right? So like the example of my son, the fact that I'm so grateful that he is choosing to be a person with manners, right? So that's something, the deeper that you go and the more specific you are about it, the more you actually feel the gratitude in your body. And that's what we're after. We're after that sensation of really feeling that audacious grace in your body, right? That's the whole purpose. Like you can mindlessly scribble down 3 things in your journal, but unless they actually impact you and they actually trigger that emotion of audacious grace in you, it's not really effective, right? It's just kind of going through the motions. And that's what we're really trying not to do in life, right? That is what I really try to teach, is to not go through your life just going through the motions, but actually really experience your life. And so that comes from really feeling the emotions and being present with the emotions. And so that's a really big immediate benefit that you're going to feel from doing this. Okay. So a third thing is write about your happy place and why you love it. Okay. So like this weekend, I'm headed out to our lake lot, and it's literally my happy place. It's my favorite place in the world, because I love water and I love the lake. And we've been going there for over 20 years as a family. And I'm taking my journal and I'm going to be writing about my happy place and why I love it so much, so that I can actually savor that, right? I could trigger those emotions in my body and savor it. Fourth thing, note the result of sincere compliments that you either give or you receive, right? So often, like, somebody will say to you, they'll give you a compliment, and we kind of just let it like roll off of us, right? We let things that bother us stick to us, but we don't actually let the positive things stick to us, right? So just take those compliments maybe that someone gives you, or a compliment that you give to someone, and remember to, like, when you get back to your journal, to note that. So really note the result of sincere compliments that you give or you receive. So how you felt about it, the details, the specifics, so you can really enjoy that, savor that experience again. All right. A fifth thing is write about what you now appreciate about yourself as a child, right? So now that you can look back at yourself as a child and think about yourself as a child, like, what are the things, if you were to think about going back and observing yourself as a child, what are the things that you appreciate about yourself as a child? Like, it was just like your, like for me, I grew up with brothers. I have 3 younger brothers. And so, you know, building forts and climbing trees, and the swing set. My swing set was my favorite place in the world. My dad built it for me, and I spent literally hours swinging on that swing and doing acrobats off of it and things like that. And I just can think back and I can appreciate just how adventurous I was as a kid, and just how on the go I was, and how excited I was every day, especially in summer, to get up and just have a whole day ahead of me of riding bikes and, playing in the hillside where we would build forts and things like that. So just go back and think about yourself as a child, and write about that. Like, write about what you can now appreciate about yourself as a child. All right. A sixth thing is journal about the random acts of kindness that you initiate, and as well as what you experience, right? So not long ago, we were going through Tim Hortons, and we got up to the window, and the person ahead of us had actually paid for our order. And so I then paid for the person behind me, right? It's just such a fun thing to do. And it just adds so much to somebody's life. And so take the initiative, do some random acts of kindness, and then write about it, right? Write about it in your journal. The seventh thing is note the coincidences, the perfect timings, the synchronicities of your life, right? So just really start to look for those things in your life that are fortunate and lucky, and the timing, and a coincidence or a synchronicity, and journal about those. And the eighth thing is give thanks for the simple things that you take for granted, right? Like this time of year, where I'm at in the Okanagan, it's been super hot, right? So giving thanks for the lakes that I can go swim in and cool off, and giving thanks for electricity, because we can run fans or air conditioners to stay cool at night. So those are like the little things that we just kind of take for granted, that when we really stop to savor them, we actually feel pretty lucky, pretty blessed, pretty fortunate, okay? So those are some proven benefits, and as well as 8 just simple suggestions to get you started on noting your audacious grace every day. And if you have any questions, please post them. Hi, Elizabeth. Nice to see you here. If you have any questions, please post them. I also wanted to say that the little gift that I wanted to share with you is, some of you have seen this. Now it'll be backwards on the Facebook Live, but if you can read backwards, you can see it's the little Audacious Grace logo that I created. And what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to make that available to you. So if you want to download that, print it off, cut it out, put it in your journal. Either, you know, you can put it inside cover of your journal, you can put it on the cover of your journal, you can put it on the just like the top of a fresh page if you like, whatever. Just something that kind of gives you that, okay, this is your Audacious Grace journal that you're going to collect all of your Audacious Grace in. So look for that. I will be posting a link in the Facebook group where you can click on, and then you can go to it and you can print it, download it and print it. And of course, if you're watching this later and you have questions, post your questions, or once you get started, if you're here and you get started and you have a question for me, just pop it in the comments and I'm happy to answer them. Okay, so thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me on Audacious Grace. I really look forward to like the experience of this and the changes of this, because really that's what it's all about. It's like feeling that emotion of grace in your body, and just the chain reaction effect that is going to have on your life, because all change happens from within and moves without. So this is going to be one of those things that creates a lot of change. I can feel it. And I'm happy you're here. Thank you for being here, and have a fabulous rest of your August 1st. And please feel free to post in Imperfect and Unapologetic your Audacious Grace moments and experiences, so we can all celebrate together. Because when we all celebrate collectively, it's exponentially more powerful. So let's all celebrate together. All right. Thank you for being here. And I will talk to you all again soon. All right. Bye-bye.